I really liked the I think now causal loops.
Yeah.
So like because I when I was in year 12, I did uni enhancement philosophy. Weird flex. And
I'm an actual time traveler, so
oh.
three, two,
You go.
1. Welcome back to another episode of Take Two, Cinema Edition. We're rolling with it.
Black hat,
Yep,
grey jumper.
yep. White jumper with catch. Shout outs to catch. Shouts to Martin for the jumper. Anyways, you got Kurt, David. And welcome back to another episode of Take Two. We're gonna do that all again.
Cinema.
But yeah, anyways, getting straight into this one, we're actually going to talk about a movie. And it's a very little known movie by a very little known director. Some of you guys may have heard of him. I don't know. It's called Tenet by Christopher Nolan, was it?
Yeah, aka 757.
Interesting. Yes.
They're like, what the hell?
I
I don't think it was a 757, was it?
It was definitely some massive fucking plane. But yeah.
Freightliner.
Yeah. But yeah, in this episode, we're going to actually talk about Tenet. I think this is one of the first episodes that we're talking about a movie.
Maybe
Besides-
like
oh, no,
we
we
talked
talked
about
about
Mulan
Mulan.
one, but like
Yeah.
that wasn't really a movie. So
Yeah, it's
moving
true,
on.
It was just a bunch of moving pictures, but it doesn't really count for anything. But anyways, yeah, talking
Moving lawn.
about... yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No, it's all good.
Tenet.
So Tenet, yeah, you watched it on, you said Friday.
Yeah, it's out on Netflix.
Yeah, I watched it in the cinema with Angelina, and then I watched it again in
In the home cinema.
this cinema.
On Netflix.
Yeah, so I watched it actually, I watched it 3 times. I watched it once in cinema, once here.
Relax.
Sorry.
No.
It's like, well, good for you, man. You fucking genius or something. Well, I know. You said it. Just kidding.
Your words.
Yeah, the third time was I just had it in the background.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I was just doing some stuff. Sometimes I just pop something on if I've already watched it. But yeah, like,
Tenet.
did you like it? Let's go with that first. Did you like the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely did.
Yeah.
I think that like staying true. Oh, actually, just overall.
Mhm.
Overall, yes, I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Would you?
Did you?
No, just kidding. Yeah, I did. What if you had to rate out of 10? What would you give it?
Ooh, I think I still need to I haven't
Digest
really
a bit.
come to a decision on
Okay,
it.
maybe we can go to that at the end.
Yeah, how about you?
Me, I'd probably give it like a 7.5.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I was actually thinking 8.
Yeah, right. I was thinking of 8 first, but then I was like, I don't know, maybe it'll change by the end.
True.
I'll give another rating at the end, but from what I remember, about 7.5 for me at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I usually suck at giving number ratings.
Yeah,
I thought I'd
same.
ask you first, because it gives me time to think.
Mine is like purely arbitrary. Like I enjoyed it, and I tried to like pick it apart.
Yeah.
Um,
I really enjoyed it, though, but yeah.
yeah, like just me trying to pick it apart. I was like, it's pretty good. So
Yeah.
other than that, had fun, good visual effects. Yeah, I
Yeah.
liked it.
Well, let's start with that first. And like, what are the good things from that movie that you found, like, really stood out to you?
I really liked the, I think now causal loops.
Yeah.
So like because when I was in year 12, I did uni enhancement philosophy. Weird flex. And
I'm an actual time traveler, so
but like when I studied it, they actually went through like metaphysics and time travel.
yeah, that's cool.
And so like I guess like the existence of it, how it's possible, and like what theories help to support all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were saying like causal loops basically exist, and like their existence doesn't need to be justified.
Yeah,
But like they can be explained by just saying that they exist.
yeah,
Sort of like the Big Bang Theory.
yeah,
Like there's nothing that causes the Big Bang Theory. but it just happened, and then like that's what you're kind of going off.
Yeah.
So using that same justification, you can use a causal loop, but a lot of people fuck it up, and like
Yeah.
they just do like weird shit, or like there's like the whole multiverse and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's a whole nother, like, theory
It's
of its
different,
own. Yeah.
So like it's good that they stayed consistent to what it was going to be,
Yeah.
and like yeah, it just sort of made sense in that way that like time was like sort of looping itself.
Yeah, they kept it contained.
Yeah,
That's what I mean by, like, a lot of movies fuck it up, like, with time travel, because they don't establish the rules and they don't keep to it.
yeah,
And then that's when all the plot holes, if you want to call it, or loopholes, kind of come into play.
yeah.
But if the movie successfully just goes, this is the established rules of this universe, we're going to stick to this, it's like, sweet, I can follow that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Heads up, there's spoilers.
Oh, actually, that's a really good point. Spoilers. Shit ton of spoilers.
Yeah. So if you haven't watched it, probably don't listen to this just yet. Go watch the movie
Yeah.
and then come back.
Or if you don't give a shit, then please listen.
Yeah.
We need
all the way
of
through.
you viewers.
And if there's an ad, click on it.
No matter what it is. Just buy it. Just buy it anyways.
Right.
Hell, we might even buy it.
But yeah,
The
Yeah.
causal loop and stuff. Yeah.
I really like that. Like they followed the correct logic, and they
Mm.
did it in a way that like is supported, like from like a, like a academically supported perspective.
Yeah, because they were following the rules of entropy, which is really interesting.
What is
Like-
entropy?
So I mean, I can't fully explain it as well because, like, I'm not a fucking scientist.
Yeah.
But I think the way that the movie was trying to say was, like, it's not exactly time travel, but it's like when things happen in reverse. So, like, for example, instead of the car, when the car's on fire, it freezes instead of just the fire dissipating.
Yeah, like the reverse of it.
Yeah. So I can't fully explain that science behind it. There is actual science behind that.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. There's like some interesting elements and rules that are within that universe. But like you said, the movie follows that really well.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah.
Yeah. Like, what did you think of the dialogue?
So Christopher Nolan is notorious and infamous for expository dialogue.
Yeah.
And when he's not at the helm of script writing, his dialogue is so much better. So when his brother, Jonathan Nolan, is usually the script writer, dialogue, script writing, way better. And when he usually has like another lead writer, so much better. But when he's the sole writer for the movies, I mean, exposition isn't inherently a bad thing.
Yeah.
But I will say that Christopher Nolan is probably one of the biggest directors right now, one of the most well-known directors right now, who's
does
probably
it.
the most guilty of having too much exposition in his movies.
Yeah.
Because on one end, you can't help but admire how large scale like he thinks and how ambitious he is with his projects. That like they almost require a hefty amount of establishing
Explanation,
and explanation to like make sure that whoever's watching can follow the movie.
Yeah.
And that's not to say like he's some sort of big brain like godlike complex being who makes like the most mind-blowing fucking films. It's more so that like because they're so ambitious, there needs to be that groundwork. Otherwise,
Yeah.
like the rest of the film, you're going to be sitting there like, this makes no fucking sense.
Yeah. And you just be like upset at it.
Yeah, exactly. Just for like fucking throwing popcorn, whatever. But like, for example, in Inception, that one had a lot of exposition. People pointed that out, but the
Yeah.
movie was great.
Yeah.
It's like whether you liked it or not, you can't disagree that it was a terrible movie. Like it's actually a pretty well made movie.
Yeah.
That's a bold statement.
I would say so.
But like, yeah, that movie was a glimpse at that expository habit that Nolan has as a writer.
Yeah.
And then the more he started directing and writing his films, you could see that coming more to light. And so going back to Tenet, yeah, the exposition was really heavy,
Yeah.
but in a sense necessary. Otherwise, it would just be so like, what is going on? One line that did make me kind of like laugh a little bit, but I get why it's in there, is don't think it, just feel it. It's the scientist that's teaching the his name is Protagonist. He doesn't have a name. His name is
Yeah.
actually Protagonist.
That's
About
as
the
if
whole-
I was writing the screen, because I would know what I do. Screenwriting,
It's
like,
like-
protagonist.
It's like, you know, when you
Main-
control find and replace all the
yeah,
the words, like Protagonist. Oh, I'm gonna keep that.
that's good. I like it.
Yeah, so like when she tells him just like don't think about it, just feel it. That was like the tagline for the film. It's like don't think about it, just feel it. And I think because I've watched it several times now, the first time I did think about it and I enjoyed it, but thinking about it made it more stressful. So when I watched it again and just felt it, I was like, that was way more enjoyable. But yeah, sorry, to long answer, to go back to the question of like his exposition dialogue. Yeah, I think it's necessary, but I feel like there is a way to replace that with visual storytelling more than characters going like, oh, so this is how this works and this is what happens when that happens.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Because it does feel a little bit ham-fisted at times.
yeah,
Yeah. And then that leads on to the whole like confusing sound design, because on one end it's amazing, but then in terms of understanding and hearing the dialogue, why? Just why? Like,
yeah. I didn't watch it in cinema, so I had no problem. I was reading along.
yeah, because like I try to see Nolan's reasons as why he's doing that, and like I think from some of the articles and interviews that I read about him, you know, he wants to make it immersive. He wants to make that cinematic experience that you have to watch in the cinema, and to some degree, I definitely understand, because you can't really beat that cinema experience when you want to be immersed into whatever you're watching, right?
Yeah,
The sound system's amazing, the big screen, like you're in the dark, like you're in the movie.
you're in the world. Yeah,
But when it starts to make the viewing experience tedious
yeah,
and you can't hear points that's telling the story, especially when you have story beats happening specifically in the dialogue because it's exposition,
yeah.
and it's
That's hard
making
to
me,
hear.
and that's, how do I say this? If you make a film that's complex and the intention is for the audience to figure it out as they watch it, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you're literally putting a fucking blockade, like
Of
blinders,
information, yeah.
like unallowing people to like dissect the movie, then that's a terrible movie experience. So like the fact that I couldn't understand like a good 70 to 80% of what the fuck they were saying
Yeah.
during the heavy exposition scenes,
Hmm.
I found that it was just like all I could think of was what the fuck? Why?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the music sounds amazing, the sound design is amazing, but then the dialogue, I can't hear shit.
Hmm.
And then so rewatching again with subtitles made the experience so much better because I could actually follow along like
With
more
what
of the
was going
complexities
on.
of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I honestly don't fully understand why he chose to do that. I tried, but I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I don't like it.
Do you reckon it was like the cinema that was like just
No,
throwing it
it's
out?
apparently,
It's a big thing.
yeah, apparently like a good huge chunk of the people that watched it were like, nah, couldn't hear a fucking word. Or like you can hear the words, but it's just like
it's like drowned out by like.
yeah, it's just
'Cause I
jumbled
remember
up.
the music really added to it.
The music was fucking great. I love the composer Ludwig.
The score, sorry. The
Yeah.
music.
It's music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like just, being immersed in it in that way, and like because when we were watching it like with popcorn, like we were eating like ice cream, like
Yeah, yeah.
sipping on some wine, like having
Dude, I wish you watched in the cinema because the soundtrack, the score, holy shit! In the cinema, just fucking booming, man. The bass is
Yeah.
nuts.
That's sick.
Yeah, the scene with the fire truck, the
Yeah.
that scene, and like the siren kicks in and the bass just drops, and you're just like, whoo! Yeah,
Yeah,
great
sick.
moment.
I remember watching the first quarter to a third, maybe act one.
Yeah.
And I was just like, there is a lot going on here right now. And I was just
There's a
like,
shit ton.
there was a lot of explaining. But then, like, once you get past it, you kind of just... And I could see why he was doing his expository dialogue. Obviously, if there were a few more devices, like, on a character level that was kind of helping to motivate that expository dialogue,
Yeah,
Like,
that's
if
another talking point as well. But yeah.
yeah, like in Inception, like say for example, um, the who's God Joseph Gordon-Levitt? What's his character?
He is. Man, I haven't seen that movie in a while. Fuck, what does he do again?
Arthur. No, I don't know. It's Arthur.
It might actually be Arthur.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
yeah. So his character, he is explaining how the world works
that's right. Yeah.
to the girl,
Yep.
and then so because that is the case, like you kind of get an explanation because she needs to be brought up to speed,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like you are experiencing that through her, whereas like this is just like, okay, well,
Straight.
yeah, I'm talking to Michael Caine. Okay, well, this is a painting that is important to the plot line. And you're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, I'm just getting fed this. Like,
But that's a good point. So like, just to add on to that as well, like that's what I mean by inherently like exposition's not a bad thing, because if you deliver exposition but it builds character, for example, like for example the interactions between the characters for that exposition in Inception was pretty well done, because say Tom Hardy's character and Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, when they're both talking about like the kick moment,
Yeah.
and like, you know, they're teasing each other and shit, and like trying to like get on each other's nerves, like kicking each other's chairs and like being dicks to each other.
yeah,
Like that shows character growth and it shows who they are.
yeah,
And that interaction like plays into other things that happen. So even though they're delivering exposition, it's done in a way that we understand them. We're getting story, we're getting character development.
yeah.
Whereas in Tenet, it's just like, this is happening. Now going here and doing this.
Yeah.
Now this is happening. This is the rules for this. It's very mechanical.
It was very efficient storytelling. Like, I mean, you know, he wasted no scenes.
He
That's for
definitely
sure.
didn't.
But like to be fair though, what Tennant did in 2.5 hours took Dark 3 seasons to do.
Yeah, I guess like.
Or maybe 2 seasons actually, because Dark, yeah, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, like for Dark, but that's the thing. Like with Dark, like they have the luxury to spend more time just
Okay,
growing the
yeah.
characters and growing the mystery aspect of it as well. Whereas with Tenet, it wasn't really about the mystery.
Yeah.
It was more about like the thrill.
Yeah, like what is the genre? It's an action movie.
It's definitely sci-fi,
Sci-fi action.
definitely action too. Yeah, I'd say thriller. Thriller
Yeah.
would be one too. Not so much. I feel like it's not so much mystery. Like there's mystery elements in there, but it's definitely
Yeah,
more
I
of a
think so.
thriller.
Like a cerebral
It's basically
action.
yeah, it's a cerebral
It's Interstellar.
into Tenet. Incept Tenet Stella.
Toe.
Yes.
Memento.
True. It's like a cerebral time heist kind of film.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and also it's like a spy movie, or like because they're
In a
saying
spy movie, yeah, because it's his
because he's a CIA agent, sort of.
yeah, it's his version of a James Bond film.
Yeah, I saw that homage. Like,
Yeah.
they were saying like that was the reason why, but he didn't want to like do it too closely.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, like I would say it's a good film, but I wouldn't like put it up there with like greatest of all time sort of thing.
Yeah, that's an interesting point too, because like I feel the same way too. I will say this about Christopher Nolan, like of all the big kind of filmmakers that are out there now, if you think about blockbuster films and how there's so many sequels and remakes,
Yeah,
I mean, at least he's making
he's original.
original projects
Yeah.
and ambitious ones as well.
Yeah,
So it's just like, dude, fuck yeah, keep doing it. That's crazy.
I would watch like Tenet over a remake of like the 17th
Mulan.
remake
Kidding,
of
yeah.
fucking was it Spider-Man? Like relax, bruh. Like we get it.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole other thing as well. Like how Sony's holding on to Spider-Man IP by constantly making movies because they need to renew their contracts and stuff.
Yeah. Spider-Verse was dope though.
Oh, that was a great movie. Fucking great movie. Got to talk about that next.
Oh yeah.
But with Tenet, what was I gonna say? Yeah, like it's an interesting film, and I appreciate like what he was doing with it. Like he definitely has a way of pulling off reveals in a way that it's impactful. I feel like, for example, when I guess it's the mystery aspect of it when you see
The very end.
protagonist.
Oh sorry.
Well, there's a whole bunch of stuff, but like the protagonist fighting a guy in SWAT gear in the
Yeah.
corridor, right? It's all going like he's fighting forward and the guy's going all reverse, and you're like, whoa, what the fuck's going on? And then later on, you find out he's fighting himself,
Yeah.
and it's like that sort of twist where the loop comes back around. You're like, oh, that was really well done.
Yeah.
And he tends to do that really well in all of his films, like where he's basically like M Night Shyamalan, but he can actually pull it off. Like he's not like a try hard.
Yeah.
Sorry, M Night Shyamalan.
Are you though?
No, not really. But yeah, like he's very good at successfully pulling off those like twist moments where you're like, oh shit, that really clicks really well.
Yeah.
And the
yeah.
story beats and everything matches up.
Like the revelation.
Yeah, and like it gives you that nice impact. So I really like those moments in his films as well. And the other thing about his films in general is that they do have a lot of rewatchability to them as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that you can sit down and pick it apart and come back to it with new eyes and go, oh, I actually didn't see this the first time or second time I watched it.
Yeah.
And then you might watch like explanation videos or read articles and see interviews and you'd be like, shit, I didn't think about that either. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I love the way that these themes interact and how the characters portray this symbol and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so I do appreciate that about his films as well.
I feel like this one was not as complex as like the other ones.
I'd say the
But sorry, just
no, yeah.
in saying that, it's because with the laws that he's established, it's so strict.
yeah, that's pretty much what I was gonna say.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, like the laws and the rules is complex, but the movie itself is it's pretty straightforward.
very straightforward. Yeah,
Yeah, like really, it's just a guy who's a secret agent who has to save the world by finding the algorithm to stop the evil guy
villain.
closing the loop and destroying the universe. And it's just like, oh, okay. Everything else is really
My
just
God,
like,
it's like the Avengers.
yeah, a little bit. But Avengers digs into the whole multiverse thing. Avengers time travel thing was a bit weird as well, though, to be honest. But that's, I don't know. Maybe we'll go into that next time.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
True.
But dude, how good was Robert Pattinson in the film?
Yeah. Well, like at first I was kind of like, what accent is that again? And then after that I was
What
like,
is he speaking?
me and Tanya was like, oh, he kind of looks like someone who just like is a bit nerdy. You know, like his character's not really like this like super suave sort of. It's just like a chilled person who like, you know, hangs
just
out,
there for the
plays
ride.
video games, like just really like normal.
Yeah.
Like doesn't strike you as like a secret agent. Whereas like the main dude, he's just like
Oh, he's
just
serious.
all class, like fucking looks like a superstar. Looks like kind of like James Harden. Maybe it's just the beard.
Kind of, for some reason, it reminds me of Denzel. Something about him.
But yeah, he's just like super cool.
Yeah.
I kind of
Straight
like.
laced, just yeah.
Yeah. I like James Bond.
Basically.
But like, I think what like I had to come to terms with is like if you watch a long movie, you expect that you've got a slow burner essentially. So like, well, my expectation going into it was like, okay, look, long movie. Maybe there's just going to be like hints to whatever it's going to be, and then you know, kind of like piece it all together. Whereas like this was just like, it was so like
It doesn't
fleeting.
stop, man. It just keeps going.
Yeah.
Once you're past the exposition bit, but even in the exposition bits, it's like action. Like things are just going.
Yeah. And then like what they do is like they go, all right, cool, we need to do this. All right, I'm doing this. And he goes, does it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, like that was very fast, but also like good because, you know, if you bog down yourself by like hesitation, thinking about it, let's plan this now, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, all right, well, cool. Everyone's dead. The world is finished. Like you took too long.
Yeah.
So it's good. Like the pace of it was like just very thrilling, exciting.
Yeah, I like the pacing of the film too. It was almost relentless, and I think that really helped to serve the thrill of the movie as well as like the suspense.
Yeah.
That it's just constantly going, and you go into the next thing, and it's like unraveling constantly as it goes on.
Yeah.
So I never felt bored in the movie. I never felt like there was like this downtime where I'm like nothing's happening. Like something's always happening, which is exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think of the plane? Were you like, whoa?
Yeah, I mean, Nolan loves to create a spectacle. He loves to be as practical as possible.
Yeah.
So the plane scene, to be honest, I wish they didn't put that in the trailer because I feel like it would have been so much more exciting if I didn't see the trailer.
Yeah, it's true.
But it didn't take away too much from it. I still enjoyed that scene a lot. Like the fact that they just got a plane, they just went, "Hey, there's a warehouse. Let's just blow the shit up."
I feel like that's probably the one part of the film where they could have just took a step back, slowed down a little bit to build into the importance of it.
Yeah, it was kind of just like, "Hey, we're gonna do this." Like, "Oh, are you? Yeah, we're doing that right now."
Yeah, it's like, oh well, like Lucky, you said it's bold. I thought you were gonna say it's completely nuts, and then that was the only nod to it.
Yeah,
It's like we're crashing $100 million plane or whatever into a building. It's just like,
yeah,
okay, you could have at least like just given a bit more of a nod to it to be like,
yeah, or more emphasis on that scene of just how dramatic it is.
yeah, because I feel like to all the filmmakers watching it, they go like, damn, dude,
Like,
that's crazy.
What the hell, man?
But then like to everyone else watching it, they go like, okay,
Yeah, well, that happened.
yeah,
To a certain degree, it's like we're all desensitized to like that scale of stuff. We see it in CG as well.
yeah,
Yeah, like most people probably just pull it off with CG, but then in comes Roland with an actual plane.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I like that scene, but I agree actually. Like, it could have had a bit more emphasis put onto it to make the impact a lot more impactful.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel as though like the fact that he did it is huge.
Oh yeah.
But then like it just didn't have enough like
Oomph.
yeah. And I was just saying to Tanya, I was like, imagine fucking that up.
Yeah.
Well, crap.
Can we do a take two? We weren't rolling.
Reset.
Reset. Reset scene. All right, can you bring the plane back out and
Uncrash it.
build the warehouse again? It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I can see what you mean, and I agree with that. But yeah, like I think going back to Robert Pattinson, yeah, I think like he does have that sort of like quirkiness to him in his role,
Kind of like
very
Doctor Who.
casual. Yeah, like very like aloof almost, just kind of going with things and being very casual. But he did bring a lot of, I feel like, humanity to that role. Like it was very personal,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
and like
He was going at a different pace to the rest of the movie.
yeah, like everything was very serious and tied down, but he was like that sort of lightness that kind of comes into it.
Yeah.
And by the end of the film, when like, you know, him and the protagonist are coming to terms of like what's going to happen and what has already happened, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like,
happened.
yeah, you're just like, damn, what a good dude.
Yeah.
But the fact that he sacrifices himself and yeah, and like he's just rolling with it. That's his life. But have you heard about the theory about how,
Who he is?
yeah,
Dun dun dun.
Maximilian,
Yeah.
yeah,
And like it's Neil backwards. Yeah.
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 What do you think about that?
I mean, like it makes total sense. And
Yeah.
then like, you know, other theories is that like Ives is also is actually the son. That's why he's so like hell bent on like making sure.
Right, yeah.
But like they said, like obviously nothing in the materials supports any of those theories.
Yeah, it's
But-
just like,
It's a good theory.
just stuff that you pick out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like because the movie worked so fast that like at the very, very end when you see like a little bit of humanity from the protagonist, it's kind of like it's like, oh damn, that's really nice. But it's like, oh damn, that's all. Like the payoff from like a human perspective, like if he is so it didn't translate so well that he was doing it because he cared.
Mm.
It was almost just like he's on a mission. Like why is he on a mission? I don't know.
Yeah. That's one of the things that Nolan's movies get critiqued about as well, is like he sacrifices humanity and emotion at times for the concept.
Yeah.
And I think it is one of those moments, and just the movie in general as well, it's one of those examples where the concept overrides that humanity and that emotional connection.
Yeah.
Because like when you're so immersed in figuring out like what is going on and also what's happening and how does this all work, you kind of forget to then emphasize like the emotional weight of what the characters are going through.
Yeah.
It's an interesting trend because like in Dunkirk, I don't know if you watched Dunkirk.
Yeah, watch that.
Like had nothing to do with the characters. It was more about the event itself. And I actually enjoyed it. I thought that was a really interesting way to tell the story. But for some, I think some people were like, oh, like it feels weird not to be able to follow a character and be relatable to them.
Yeah.
And then in Tenet, it kind of did a little bit of a repetition of that. I mean, the guy's called protagonist. Like, it doesn't have a name.
Yeah.
And like a lot of characters don't really have names. It's just like they're characters. Like they're more like placeholders.
Yeah. They serve a purpose.
They serve a purpose and they fulfill that role and that's it. So they're almost like chess pieces.
Very efficient.
Efficient, yeah. It's just efficient. And it's weird because like in some ways, like, not that I dislike it. Like it's not my thing. And then in some other ways I'm like, fuck, that's pretty cool. Like that he did that. That's pretty smart.
Yeah.
So on the end where I'm not really fond of it, it's like, yeah, I kind of do want to be able to relate to these characters on screen. I want to be able to relate to them and feel some emotion when I'm watching this. Because yeah, like at the end, like you feel a bit of that emotion, but then after it kind of passes, you're like, right, that happened. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and throughout the film as well, like there's pretty emotional and heavy scenes that happen, but you're more thrilled in the suspense of the concept, what's going to happen, what's the next scene going to be, rather than like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen to this character. Am I going to feel really bad for them?
Yeah.
You're more like, oh, are they going to end up being successful in the heist, or are they going to end up being successful in A, B, and C?
Or how does this tie into the rest of the movie?
Yeah, like
rather than
you're more attached to the idea of the film rather than the characters and them as being relatable human beings. So on that note, like, you know, I think for me, I'm a bit more fond of being able to be attached to the characters.
Yeah.
But on the other side, I think it was really cool that he went with this concept to see how the film can be told and the story can be told. Because like conceptually, if you think about it, like if you place yourself in the protagonist's role, and Angelina's home now, if you place yourself in the role of the protagonist and you pretend you're the protagonist, like that's kind of a cool way to look at it as well. You're the hero in this story or game or whatever. So that kind of concept is really interesting, and to see that pulled off in like a massive film like this is pretty cool. So I kind of see both ends. Personally, for me, I would rather have characters that I can get attached to, because
then you can see yourself as that person.
Yeah, that relatability, that human side of things, just make it much more impactful.
Yeah. Because like I guess like towards the end, I know I'm totally on the same boat.
Yeah.
Because you know how they were saying like, oh, this is a beautiful, like, you know, this is the start of a beautiful friendship.
Yeah.
I'm like, they kind of seem like they're friends, but they kind of don't.
Yeah, like if there's this, that's the thing. There's hints of it throughout the movie.
Yeah.
But if we just had that extra bit of humanity put in the characters, then those small moments. Shout outs to our previous podcast. The small moments would feel much more significant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if they had established a joke between the two of them, or like they like glanced at each other and like they were just like, I got you, or whatever.
Yeah.
But there was no like connection. It was very like, you're in a corporate work environment.
It's very mathematical.
It's like you are the piece of the puzzle that needs to get me from this point to this point.
To the point, yeah.
Yeah, because like I guess like one of the major characters in the movie is like the mum, right? Like
Cat, yeah.
And so she's motivated because she's
so tall, sorry.
Oh yeah, we were
she's
just saying.
So tall.
And like she was like trying to reach for us with her foot. I'm like, you can reach it.
There's nothing stopping you.
He's like, yeah, so I can help you.
Yeah, so it's got binoculars on and shit.
Yeah, but like, so she's a main character, and like her arc is important to the whole story. So like, you know, it's like, oh hey, like my son, you know, like he needs to, I want to be like around him. You know, I get angry that I'm not allowed to be near him, and it's just like, I don't sense that from you at all.
Yeah, like I didn't really feel that emotion coming through.
Yeah,
it was very much just like, it's almost like the movie's telling you you should feel for her because she has some sort of problem, and we all have problems, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't think that's how it works, man. Like, we have to understand her more as a character. We have to be able to see and feel that emotion rather than being told to feel the emotion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think if that was just established a bit more, then you
Yeah.
could see the motivation for why, like, because at the end, like, and knowing mums, what the hell, but
Being a
like,
mum myself.
you know how like most of the time with mums, like the main thing is that like the maternal instinct kicks in to protect their offspring.
Yep.
Like in the end, like her arc is driven by anger or like
Vengeance.
hatred, yeah. And it's just like, well, that wasn't really a part of the plot line, so I don't really like. I don't know why you kind of added it in that way.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah. Like, yeah, it was just
It's
if
the
they
little
just
things.
had, yeah, it's really the little things. Like, if they just had more moments where she's spending time with her son.
And then he gets taken away.
Yeah.
Then
Like, for example, like just moments. Like, the only moment I can really think of is like her picking him up from school,
yeah,
and that's it. But we don't ever get to see who the kid is either.
yeah,
And like, we don't see the attachment and, like you said, the motivation and drive to protect her son. It's very exterior, like, not even exterior, it's very just mathematical.
yeah. It serves a very good plot point.
Yeah, it's just for one purpose and that's it. And so, yeah, it just feels like if they just had a bit more of those moments between these characters to really flesh out, like, their behaviors, who they are, like,
Yeah.
to make them feel more like actual people.
Their motivations, right?
Yeah, and that way we can find the motivations more and side with their motivations more.
Yeah.
Then we can be like, okay, I'm invested. But really, it's just like, this is this piece of the puzzle. This guy's this piece of the chessboard. And now they're going to move from A1 to A3 or whatever, like on,
Yeah.
and that's it. They just move around and they fulfill their position, their role, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it does feel emotionally empty by the end of the film.
A little bit, yeah. I
Yeah.
think that if they had done that, that would, like, I think that's what Interstellar did incredibly well.
Oh, dude. And that's funny because like Interstellar was the complete flip side. Like, it was a fucking emotional film, like so emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the concept, like,
Do you reckon it was cast, or was it also the script?
I'd say it's definitely the script.
Yeah.
Because I think the cast is amazing. Like, they have great cast in both movies. They're
Yeah.
all amazing. But the way that it was directed and scripted made a big difference.
Mm.
But I think that's also the intention as well. Because I think with Interstellar, it was heart first and then science fiction around it.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas this one was science fiction first and then that's it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
There's a bit of heart there, but like...
At the end.
yeah. Yeah, like Interstellar was definitely emphasizing the relationship between Murph and the dad, Matthew McConaughey,
Yeah.
whereas Tenet was really concept driven.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
That
very
was
like,
clear.
yeah, it was straight from the get go. It's like, concept. Oh, what's this concept? Let's figure it out, and then that's the
Yeah.
movie.
I think
Yeah.
like it, like not taking away from it or anything, but it was very, like it seemed as though the purpose of the movie was to be a mind fuck.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
Yeah, and like that definitely like helps you to go like, oh damn, like this is so intelligent, like awesome. It looks great. Like
I get it. I must be smart. Not kidding.
Yeah, it's like that kind of thing, you know, like
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
like, oh, okay, like this is a cerebral movie. Like you gotta like use your brain, you know, and like if you're confused, then you have a chat about it.
Yeah.
But it's not really like like if you watch Interstellar, you go like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Or like in Inception, like it makes you like question your own existence. Whereas this one is just like, that was a cool movie.
Yeah.
Just left a little bit lacking. Not saying that it's like
A bad film. or
bad
anything
film,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
And like
for sure.
definitely, you know, happy to support the next Nolan film that comes out.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like still a fan.
Again, like I don't dislike the movie, and even all the points I brought up about like things that I personally feel like would have made it more enjoyable for me, there weren't anything that brought the movie down.
Yeah.
I'd say the only thing that brought the movie slightly down for me was the sound design with the dialogue. Like, that was literally the only thing I can think of that made me just go like, why? Like, this made my experience of watching this film less enjoyable.
Yeah.
But everything else is more just like, oh, I don't dislike it. I'm just not. Um, I personally just wouldn't do it that way. Or
Yeah.
yeah, I'd like this better than that. I prefer to see it in another way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nothing really went like this is terrible to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Like I totally agree with that because
Mm.
I really liked it.
Yeah,
Like it's very enjoyable,
yeah, for sure.
and or maybe like what my expectations for what I would have liked it like just wasn't like ticked.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think that like to be honest, because the subject matter like is based around like four dimensionalism and like time travel and
Yeah.
causal loops, like there's only so much that you can do with it. It's kind
Yeah.
of like when you hear an urban legend when you're younger and that you know it and then you see a movie made of it, other people who haven't seen it before, they're like, oh my god, this is scary, and then I'm just like, I've heard this before.
Yeah.
It's like when you see a meme and you're like, this is the best.
Yeah.
And then they go like, oh, seen it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like in saying that, if someone was watching it with fresh eyes, they'd be like, damn, this is good, because it nails it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I will say it's a very refreshing take on the whole time travel concept in like a time travel film, because most of the ones are like, oh, if you change the past, we'll change the future. Like they usually go that way, and then there's always a lot of paradoxical problems with that kind of storytelling.
Yeah.
Whereas this one was very contained in its time travel concept and just went with it and established that very like nicely. So there's really not much to pick out of it going like, that made fucking no sense, or like that shouldn't happen. It's like, no, the movie made pretty clear like this is the rules, and this is what it's gonna do, and that's what happens, and that's it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's like it's an A, but it's not an A plus.
Going with Chris Duckman's on YouTube.
No.
As a movie reviewer.
Oh,
He goes with like, he goes from like, I think the lowest rating is like D minus, and then D and D plus, and then C minus, C and C.
I was literally just going with my own childhood.
Oh. Okay.
It's like 80 something, but not a 90 something.
Yeah, I definitely give this movie probably like a 7.5 to an 8.
Yeah.
I just gotta say it again. That soundtrack is fucking banger. I love it. Ludwig. Oh, what's his last name? It's not Johansson, is it? I can't remember. I feel bad now.
Ludwig.
But Ludwig, oh, dude, that soundtrack was great. I really liked it, especially with the bass.
It makes me want to rewatch Interstellar.
I'm down.
Yeah.
I love that movie. That movie has a fond place in my heart. It's a good movie. I really like it.
I feel like Matthew McConaughey is such a good actor.
Oh, he's so good.
He's like so diverse, and just to like the emotional journey that he takes you on through that film, you go like, oh fuck. Like it doesn't even have to make sense the rest of the movie, but you're just like, I'm there.
You just invest in him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like yeah. So that's like the two ways that you could take it. It's like one is like super smart writing, and then one is like incredible performance. And then obviously supported by good writing.
But yeah, I get you.
But yeah, like one is like mainly about, like you were saying, the humanity, and one is about the intellect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think maybe my preference is just I want to feel, because I want to be in the feels. I'm so in the feels right now.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up, because it makes me think of expectations when watching films. Whenever I'm watching a new film, or any film in particular, I always try to go in with zero expectations, because what I want to view is the artist's intent. And then obviously, like, I'll watch it with my own personal preferences, but that to me is not how I'm going to judge the film.
Yeah.
Because that's not a way of saying the movie did something wrong. It's just a personal preference.
Yeah. Okay.
So when I go in to watch something and I don't like it, it's not because the movie did something wrong. It's just a personal preference. It's just not my thing.
Yeah.
But if the movie does, have actual technical issues, like say, exposition might be too heavy, versus like exposition done through characters, we can clearly see there's something that's better there.
Yeah.
But if it's just more like, I know it's not really the genre I like, or the character does something that I disagree with, but it works for their character.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it's a bad film for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see
if
where
that
you're
makes
coming from.
sense.
Yeah, in that case, then I'll totally just give it an 8
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
like not perfect, and if it was a 9, then it would kind of fill those gaps because like from like
Yeah.
a technical perspective, you would like just want to have a few more little things to cling on to from an audience perspective
Yeah.
because like I guess conceptually banging.
Yeah.
But then
Spot
just
on.
like yeah, a few times where like the pacing could just change up a little bit. That I feel like that is preference, but also like just from a character development point of view,
Yeah. Yeah.
that would help to like reel the audience in a bit more.
Yeah. But yeah, I bring that up because like I went down the rabbit hole of like seeing other people's reviews on movies, not just Tenet in general, but other movies, reading comments and stuff, and like you really see that bias kick in. It's like, oh, why didn't they do it like this, the way that I prefer it? And it's like, bitch, the movie wasn't fucking made for you. Like the guy wanted to make his story,
Yeah,
and you have to accept that. But it doesn't mean it's a bad film.
yeah. It would be
Yeah.
like, did they achieve what they were trying to do?
Yeah.
And like,
If so,
you're following those rules,
yeah,
how can it be done better?
yeah. And like, if you have your personal preferences, totally fair.
Yeah,
That's totally fair.
it's like it should have been in black and white.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, that's not what he intended.
Yeah.
So shut up.
Enough.
Yeah, and like, because I've seen that before as well. Like, I think probably the biggest example was like the whole DC versus Marvel thing.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people went into DC wanting Marvel films, bright, vivid jokes, not so serious, and they come out going like, "Why was it so serious?" It's like, dude, the intention was to make dark films.
Yeah.
So why the fuck are you bitching? Like they purposely made it dark because that was the intention. They wanted it to be dark. Maybe it's not your thing, but it doesn't mean it's a bad film.
Yeah.
You went in wanting to see a Marvel movie, or not even a Marvel movie. You wanted to see something different, and you weren't given that. It's like going out, buying a product, expecting it to do something that it's not meant to do, and then going like, "Why is this product working?"
Yeah.
It's like, what
Like
were you
order
expecting?
a chicken schnitzel. Like, why does it have chicken in it?
Yeah, I wanted a Big Mac. Where's my dinner box?
What the hell?
Yeah, go to
Oh, yeah.
Nando's and you fucking get a Subway. You know.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense though. Like,
Yeah.
I think that like, it's so easy to jump into that, like to fall into that trap.
Yeah, it
You're
is.
like, I want this way. Like, make your own fucking movie then.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, I try to make sure that when I watch movies, I'm like, I'm there to watch the movie,
Yeah.
regardless of what it is. Yeah. And I'll have my personal preferences, but I'll take the movie as it is.
I think that's a good way to look at it. Otherwise, like, then you can just everything can turn into a wine fest or like,
Yeah.
fanboying.
Yeah, and I found watching movies that way so much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Because like I used to go in with like, oh, hyping myself up to like see a certain film and then being disappointed afterwards, or going in with low expectations and then being more disappointed or
Yeah.
getting blown away. And like getting blown away is pretty cool, but yeah, it just, I feel like it really skews the movie going experience for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, going in with like an inherent bias already. Yeah, but that's that. Like side note.
No, that
Yeah.
makes total sense. I think that's a good lens to go in with, because then that way at least like there's
And to film with.
Ah.
Yeah, sorry. Good
No,
lens to go in with.
I was gonna say like yeah, wide, but I'm like the fuck that like, I'm just gonna say wide.
Focal length.
Idiot. But yeah, like I think because like if we're going to be critiquing it, like otherwise it would just be like who are you? Why?
Yeah.
Like, but if you're going like this is their intent, this is what we're like, this is what they were trying to achieve, or my interpretation of what they're trying to achieve,
Yeah.
then okay, cool. Like this is how I've seen it, and this is like what I rate it.
Yeah.
Then it sort of makes sense rather than just going like, I like it, I didn't like it, and like because I didn't like it or I liked it.
Yeah. Basically, you can't firmly state without elaborating a bit more. You can't use that statement of I didn't like it equals the film is bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, because films are subjective, and like this is probably one of the most like privileged / pretentious things I'll say, but like as a filmmaker, I have too much respect for other filmmakers to go in with that lens and that perspective, and like I just feel like it's not a respectful way to view someone else's work.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, because I know, like when I make something, there's my intentions being put into that thing that I'm making, and if someone just goes like, they don't have to like it, but then to tear it down and say it's shit, just because of their own personal preference, it's like, okay, that's not how it works.
Yeah, but
Wow, that's a first. Should have changed the battery after the first should have changed the battery after the first podcast. Anyways, technical difficulty, our battery ran out, so we replaced it. Nothing was left out because I saw that straight away.
Is it recording?
It's recording now.
Okay, cool.
Yep. Wait, let me just double check one more time.
Yeah. No harm. And technical difficulties, and we're back.
True. What were we talking about? Objectiveness, bias, all that stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah. So
I mean, we're pretty much at the end of the episode anyways.
Very true.
Yeah.
But like in the future, when you have a cinema release,
that's right,
and you know critics are like picking it apart,
yeah.
but they give you an objective criticism, or you know, objective feedback for you to actually like improve your film moving forward, but it's in a publication.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's pretty cool.
Okay. That was. I was gonna say, like, what would you think about it?
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I'd be happy with that. I'm fine with that. I think. Okay, here's two ways of looking at it. It's really about context. In some areas, there's unsolicited critique. You're putting it out there. You just want to show the work and then move on. And in those kind of contexts, it's like, you know, you just want people to look at it and be like, oh, that's cool. There's nothing too in-depth, nothing too serious. In those moments when people like start like tearing it down, giving feedback, it's like, who the fuck asked you?
Yeah.
You know, but in the context of like releasing something in the cinema, something that's going to be seen by like a lot of people, that's going to be, the purpose and intention is going to be to get a reaction from people.
Yeah.
In that context, it's like totally understandable that it's going to be picked apart because it's being put out there for the public to digest.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so in that context, it's like, if it happens, it happens. Like, it's, I mean, like, what else can you expect? Like, you can't tell people to not critique the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it just really goes back to, like, how they critique the movie.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, to go, this is about, like, if you put out something that's for you, then fuck what everyone else says. Like, if someone picks it apart, you're like, you're a dick.
Yeah.
But if it's, like, for the public, for, like, a viewing audience, then you go, okay, cool, it's open to criticism.
It's fair. It's all fair game.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And, like, if there is going to be critique that goes to that area of, like, oh, I didn't like it, so it's a terrible film, then it's like, fuck off. Shut up.
At least then you know that they're stupid.
Yeah, but if they're actually, like, you know, saying, okay, the dialogue here felt a bit clunky because it's X, Y, and Z reasons, it's like, fair, that's totally fair. You explained yourself.
Yeah.
I might disagree with it or I might agree with it, but you explained yourself. That makes total sense. Good on you. Yeah. So in those cases, it's like, I think it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keen, man.
Same. Yeah, boy.
Okay, so we need to do another film. I feel like we should do a notoriously, like, not notorious, just like not a Nolan film. You know what I mean? Like, just like another whatever film. Maybe like James Bond or something like that. Just
True.
Or maybe like a Michael Bay film.
I'm down. Any film.
Oh, you know what we should really do?
What?
We should watch Bad Boys 2. So
fuck. What
good.
a classic. I feel bad because, like, I barely remember the film. I just remember the feeling of watching the film, but I can't remember specific moments as much anymore.
Oh, I've literally
watched
it so many times.
Okay, yeah, so it's fresh with you.
Oh no, like not recently, but it's like a formative part of like my childhood. Like my best friend in primary school, we would just like for years say the same jokes.
Just like riffing off and
they help to like form like most of the way that we talk.
I can see that.
So it's alright. Yeah, saying it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm down. I mean, we can always just put a list together and just like get into it.
I'm down. Yeah,
sick. On that note, I think we should wrap this up then.
True.
Yeah. So yeah, Tenet, we recommend. It's good. We like it.
8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Net.
Good average. oh shit. Okay. Fuck.
Yeah. Did you see like the Rota Square as well?
Yeah. That shit was interesting as fuck.
Yeah.
Like no one really knows like where it really came from
or what it is, but then they used it and paid homage. It's a very intelligent film.
Yeah, Nolan's good at that stuff. He's good at like adding that complexity. I don't want to say complicated because complicated has that connotation of like it's
got to be like this, like
it's like not discernible, like it's done badly, if that makes sense. Whereas complex, I feel like has a bit more positive tones to it.
Yeah. Overall, 8 out of 10 for me personally.
Yeah, 7.5 for me. I think I'll still keep with that 7.5, but definitely it could be close to an 8 because I was teetering on 7.5 to 8. But yeah, I'll stay with 7.5.
Nice. I like it. Yeah, I totally. I would be open to seeing other people's like opinions on it because I feel like we only know so much, and like I'm so biased because of like because I know the subject matters. Like I would like to see someone else who hasn't
just
really
fresh.
yeah
And
like what they liked about it, and like what was like interesting.
Yeah, and you could even argue that like maybe I'm a little bit biased because I want to understand what the filmmaker's trying to do, but yeah, really interesting though. Good movie. I enjoyed it, and I'm gonna keep playing that soundtrack on repeat.
I recommend.
Yes. All right. On that note, thanks for watching and listening.
This has been a Take Two review.
Yes, it takes two to review.
Yes. That's all we got.
Yeah.
That's the smartest thing I've said all day.
I'm so complex. But yeah, if you want to see the full episodes on our YouTube and for audio on our Spotify, I was going to say on our podcast. What?
Search up My Society Studios.
Take Two. Yeah. And join us next time.
Yeah. Catch you then.
See you guys.
Peace.
Out.